Welcome to the very first video of this channel. So I'm going to be bringing you a build for a World of Warcraft Demon Hunter using the 2024 Dungeons & Dragons rules, 5.5 or 1D&D, what have you. So the first thing that we're going to look at is our stats. So we are going to be using standard array. We're going to put our 15 into dex with a +1 to round it out to 16. We're going to be putting our 14 into wisdom with a +2, rounding it out to also 16. Our 13 is going to go into constitution, our 12 into strength, our 10 into intelligence, and our 8 into charisma. So from here, we are going to pick our species, and it's going to be Eladrin. We're going to take Eladrin for the Fey Step ability. It is a bonus action, proficiency bonus times per day, and we can teleport 30 feet. And when we reach level 3, it's going to add a second effect, which depends on what season, quote unquote, that you're choosing, and you can change your season every long rest. The one that we're going to be in most of the time, and the only one that I'm actually going to go over in this video, is the summer season. And the reason for that is once we use our teleport, it's going to do proficiency bonus worth of fire damage to every creature of our choice within a 5-foot radius of where we land from our teleport. So it's going to give us functionally Fell Rush from the World of Warcraft Demon Hunter. After that, we're going to choose a background, and what we're going to do for the purpose of this build, we're taking Giant Foundling background. There are rules for how to take backgrounds from the the older supplements or the older player's handbook, and those are listed in the new player's handbook. Really, you just add 3 points worth of attributes, and then you take 2 skills, you take a tool, and then you take the feat that it gives you in the background, or you take a origin feat from the 2024 player's handbook. Giant Foundling can seem a little intimidating to some DMs, sometimes newer DMs. No offense if you do find it a little broken. It's an extra. So for example, the one we're going to take, you get the Strike of the Giants feat, and it's basically the same thing that the Goliaths have baked into their species now from the 2024 Player's Handbook. They each have different effects. There's a Hill Giant, Cloud Giant, Frost Giant, and Fire Giant. We're going to take the Fire Giant, which on a melee weapon attack or a ranged weapon attack using a thrown weapon, once per turn, proficiency bonus times per day, we can add a 1d10 fire damage to that attack. And at first level, that can be, I mean, you can outshine the rest of the party pretty easily, but I mean, the average damage overall that it really actually adds when you do the math is really not that great. It's cool flavor, and that's why we're picking it. It's extra damage. It's cool. If your DM doesn't allow it, you can either use the rules to build your own background, which, I mean, some people aren't on board with this concept, even though I believe it was rules as intended. If that's the case, then choose Guide, choose Wayfinder, or choose Sailor. Tavern Brawler is going to add some use. We are going to be using some unarmed strikes, and it's going to, being able to reroll ones, it's going to increase our damage overall over the course of the campaign. You can take Tough. Tough is good. Magic Initiate's fine. Just kind of whatever you want. So tier 1 of play, from levels 1 to 4, we are going to go level 1 into Monk. So our 16s in Dexterity and Wisdom make, with unarmored defense, it makes our AC 16. The martial arts die, of course, it'll be making simple weapons or light melee weapons, the melee martial light weapons. Jesus Christ. They'll be monk weapons and they'll do 1d6 plus 3. If you want to get close to the warglaives, I would do, what I'm gonna do personally is a hand axe and a sickle. A hand axe for later on, it gives us Vex, and then the sickle gives us Nick, so we get that Vex Nick shenanigans that two-handed, two-weapon fighting build is gonna need, which of course we're using 2 warglaives, and the sickle and the hand axe do slashing damage, so that's why I'm choosing those. Moving forward, I apologize. Level 2, we're going Fighter 1, Weapon Masteries for Vex and Nick, 2 weapon fighting style, and we're getting Second Wind. Second Wind's going to make us a little bit more survivable. That's another reason why the Origin Feat Tough isn't bad, because we are going to be semi-squishy-ish with just a D8 health from HP from the Monk. Bumping that up to 9 with our Constitution modifier, and then bumping it up to 11 with Tough, 11 HP, 16 AC, and then level 2, it'll be, 5, 6, so 17 on average with 16 AC, and then Second Wind. That's, we're gonna be able to stick in there for a minute, even without a healer. So level 3, we're gonna take Fighter 2 to get Action Surge and Tactical Mind. So Action Surge, of course, another extra attack, or another action if we need it. Tactical Mind is really good because it can add our Second Wind to doing like athletics or acrobatics in a fight if we need to, to grapple, etc., etc. Level 4, we are going to take our first subclass. Rounding out tier 1, we're going to get a lot of stuff from this, so stay with me here. So, Rune Knight, you get to pick 2 runes, and they give you bonuses, obviously. You can use them proficiency bonus times per day. Your rune save DC is going to be, I believe it's 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus your constitution modifier. So, or it might be 10 plus your, I'm sorry, I don't remember right off the top of my head. The point is, though, we are going to be using the Rune of Fire. When you hit with a melee attack or maybe a thrown weapon attack, you do 2d6 fire damage. They also make a strength saving throw, or they are restrained, and they remain restrained, and they take 2d6 fire every turn, and they can repeat the saving throw to break it. If they don't, they stay restrained. So that is going to give us this ability here, which looks like this. That is called Fell Eruption, I believe. It's one of the main crowd control abilities for the Demon Knight. So the next one we're going to take is the Rune of Stone. And so what this does is, when a creature ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to hit it with this, and it has to make a saving throw. I believe it's going to be a Wisdom saving throw. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Or become charmed by you. The charm works a little differently than normal charm. While it's charmed by you, it is incapacitated and its movement speed is 0. It goes out of its way to call it a charm, so I'm assuming, it's for the purpose of like fake creatures, stuff like that. Get advantage on it. And so that is going to basically be the ability Imprison that the Demon Hunter gets, another crowd control ability. The next feature that we're going to get is called Giant's Might. You become large size, you have advantage on strength checks, saving throws, and once per turn you can add 1d6 to damage to an attack you make. So the Giant's Might itself is a bonus action to use. You use it again, I believe it's proficiency bonus times per day, and it lasts for a minute. So it's very similar to like the Barbarian's Rage, just for an example. But that is kind of going to give us the flavor of this right here. Boom. There it is. That rounds out our tier 1 play. Moving on to tier 2, levels 5 through 10. So at level 5, we are going to go back into Monk, and we're going to take level 2, and we get Flurry of Blows and Patient Defense and Step of the Wind. So Patient Defense, it allows you to take the Disengage action as a bonus action, and if you spend a key point, it lets you take, I believe it's the Disengage and Dodge action, or yeah, Disengage and Dodge as a bonus action. Step of the Wind, very similar. You can take the Dash action as a bonus action, or with a key point you can Disengage and Dash as a bonus action. And what that's telling me is, and your jump distance is doubled when you use Step of the Wind as well. And so that looks a lot like this Vengeful Retreat and the double jump abilities. Moving forward on to level 6, we take our 3rd level into Monk, and we get our 2nd subclass, which is Way of the Ascended Dragon. The notable abilities that we get here are Draconic Strike and the Breath of the Dragon. The Draconic Strike allows us to change the damage of our unarmed strikes to elemental damage. We're, just for the flavor of this build, going to be using fire damage. Same thing with the Breath of the Dragon. If you're fighting something that is immune or resistant to fire, you can change the element to something else, I believe, when you hit with the attack unarmed strike, or when you use your action to use your breath attack. So the breath attack, you can form it into a 30-foot line. It's 5 feet wide, or a 20-foot cone. When you use that, it does 2 rolls of your martial arts die. Back in the 2014 rules, your martial arts die started as a D4. The wording of the Way of the Ascended Dragon, Breath of the Dragon from Fizbane's does say 2 rolls of your martial arts die. So it will start at a D6, 2d6, and then it will go to 2d8, etc., etc., as we grow. So that's a really good representation of the eyebeam that the Demon Hunters get. Ignore the little guy over there. He's a talent that I use. Anyway, moving forward. We won't be getting a buddy with this build. That's kind of where I was going with that. Level 7 through 8, we're gonna go Monk 4 and 5. We get a ASI or feat, so I'm just gonna go with the ability score improvement to get the dex up to 18. You can take Ember of the Fire Giant if you were allowed to take Strike of the Giants. It's okay. It's a cool thing for the Immolation aura. For those who know what that is, there was no cool visual representation of it, like no visual effect on it in World of Warcraft for me to like film it or clip it like I did the others. It's okay. It does 1d8 plus your proficiency bonus modifier to everything in a 5-foot or 10-foot radius around you, and it blinds them. It does give you can up your strength, your constitution, or your wisdom with it. So if you wanted to round out your constitution to 14, you could do that. I'm just going to take the ASI and do 18 dex. Level 5, we get our extra attack, and our martial arts die turns into a D8. So basically what our full rotation looks like, not counting Strike of the Giants and not counting the Giant's Might. The attack action with our hand axe, 1d8 plus 4. Then you get your Nick attack with the sickle at advantage because of the Vex from the hand axe. You get another 1d8 plus 4. Extra attack, hand axe, 1d8 plus 4. Action surge, hand axe again at advantage because of the one before, 1d8 plus 4. Bonus action, flurry of blows. The first flurry of blows, unarmed strike, we take it at advantage. Another 1d8 plus 4. And then the second unarmed strike is again 1d8 plus 4 for a total of 6d8 plus 24. So I did the math wrong here. It's going to be 6d8 plus 24 for the first round, and then subsequent turns is going to be 5d8 plus 24, or 5d8 plus 20, because we won't get action surge after that. That was my mistake there. Ignore that. But we get 5 focus points at monk level 5. And so we're going to be able to use Flurry of Blows 5 times in combat. And then once you get into another fight after that, you roll initiative and your uncanny metabolism gives you more key points, so you'll be pretty set to keep doing consistent damage. That's the main thing about this, is yes, a lot of these attacks are going to miss, and we're going to lose out on some of this damage for sure, but we're doing this consistently. This isn't like a Nova build like Paladin, Smite type stuff. It's a very consistent damage build. Level 9, we're going to take our 4th level and final level in Fighter for another ASI, and we're going to round out our decks to 20 for all of this to be 5s now, basically. And then Monk level 10, we get Wings Unfurled, which what it does is when you use Step of the Wind, you gain Spectral Wings for a short amount of time. It gives you a fly speed. So it's that plus the slow fall ability that you get with Monk level 4, I believe. You get a little something like that. So that rounds out the build. There are going to be a few different ways you can, flavor your background to integrate it into the world. Obviously in the sword Faerun, the Forgotten Realms, Illidan doesn't exist, and so there's a few different ways you can come up with, work with your DM to find a backstory and like an origin for your character, maybe the temple that he came from, was trained in, monastery, etc., whatever. This character fits really well into like Descent into Avernus, of course. It could work with anything really, but anything that has to do with demons and devils is probably a good time to use this build, even though I believe most, if not all, devils are resistant, at least, to fire damage. We can change our unarmed strikes to be force damage instead around monk level 6, so we're good to go either way. The rest of the build from there to 20 is really just completely up to you. If you want to dip into Ranger, there's some cool options there. I would probably just say go 16 Monk, 4 Fighter. You get a lot of really cool stuff from Monk. up in the higher levels, so it's worth sticking through for the most of it. But speaking of sticking through, I appreciate you all who made it this far and watched the entirety of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got some value out of it. I hope it sparked your creativity, and I definitely hope you guys join me next time for my next build. Thanks. Bye.